What's happening, everybody? All right, well, here we are, Friday, finishing the week in the red. Lost $3,000 today. 2 trades right out of the gates. Within the first 2 minutes, I was down $3,000. First trade was on NSYS. It was a gap and go trade. Great catalyst of a share buyback, which is so rare among small cap companies. As I started to see some volume come in, I jumped in. As soon as I got in, I realized I bought from a hidden seller. There was like an iceberg order. It popped up 7 or 8 cents. I started unwinding the position, lost 260 bucks. Not the end of the world. And then I jumped right into FFHL, which was also on our gap scanner and squeezing up. What I saw in that I liked was, it was either a 15 or maybe a 19,000 share bid sitting on the bid. So a big buyer sitting right there. So I saw that and I was like, okay, that's kind of like a backstop. I jump in, it pops up maybe 10 cents towards high a day, and then it drops 50 cents. It drops all the way to 260, and I'm sitting there holding 6,000 shares. And it drops to 260, it pops back up to 270, and then it drops to 262 or 258. So I was like, all right, well, that's it. Writing's on the wall. Got to bail out. So down $3,000, 157th day of the year. So, it's like this week has been red on Tuesday, green on Wednesday and Thursday, made $2,500 on Wednesday, $2,000 yesterday, and then lost $3,000 today. So it's like a couple steps forward, couple steps back, couple steps forward, couple steps back. So, and I lost $1,900 on Tuesday. So I'm down $1,000 on the week. Made $8,000 2 weeks ago, $4,000 last week, down $1,000 this week. What's going to come next week? Down 5,000? Down 8,000? I can't let that happen. I've got to keep the stops tight. So one of the things today that a couple traders mentioned, they were like, Ross, it's 9:32 and you're down $3,000. Are you really going to stop trading? I said, yeah, I really am going to stop trading, because here's the deal. If I keep trading now, and I take another trade and I lose another $2,000, then I'm going to be down $5,000. And it's maybe I'll see something that I think it's a great opportunity, but if I keep losing, the red days, unless I just have winners, the red day is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'd rather look back on my calendar, the one I write down here, the one on TraderView, and be able to look back and say, okay, my biggest red days are $2,000, $3,000. Maybe a $4,000 day that gets away from me here or there, but that's my cap. Those are the biggest red days. And then when I look at the green days, $13,000 green day, $6,700 green day, $4,700 green day, $2,000 green day, $8,000 green day. That's what I want to see, $29,000 green day. Big back-to-back green days. So then that puts the red days in perspective, $14,000 green day. And then the red day is $1,500, $1,200, $1,900. That to me is managing risk, capping the losses. Even though I'd love to, have been able to bounce back and finish in the green today, I didn't want to risk going further into the red. So you got to draw that line in the sand. When you cross it, that's it, you're done. So follow the rules today, the rules of August right here. Tight stops. Well, kept the stop as tight as I could on that one. 3 red trades, you're done. Only had 2 red trades. $2,000 max loss, followed the rules. And then shut off your monitor after the recap. So that one, I certainly will do. I kept watching the market even after 9:32 because it was just so early, I just kept watching it. Some days I would leave the office and I'm out and I'm done. I'm like, nope, that's it, I'm out of here. But today I kept watching and that was fine. I wasn't tempted to take any more trades, and I couldn't anyways without picking up the phone and calling my broker, because I actually have a max loss on my account. If I'm down more than $2,000, I cannot take another trade. So that's good. Not the way I wanted to finish the week, but this is August. It's one step forward, one step back. I'm grinding, and that's where my equity curve goes up, 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 and then goes sideways. Right now I'm down $1,000 for the month. So in 15 or 20 days of trading, whatever it is, I've just been going like this. So going sideways is better than going down, right? So I'm going sideways, getting ready for the next leg up. Hopefully it comes soon. All right, so that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Red day recaps are not fun to do, but we do them every time. And comment if you have questions, put them below. I'll come back through and answer them this weekend. All right, see you guys on Monday. All right, everyone. So it's time for our midday market recap, and here we are at the end of another week. It is August, and it is a grind. You know, this has been a difficult month for me. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. It's been the hardest month of the year, besides February, which February, I even cut it out. I keep looking at it. I remember cutting it out of my calendar and burning the month. Because I was red, I think, 8 days, and I only traded 15 days, so it was just a bad month. My accuracy was horrible, and it was so strange because I made $117,000 in January, and I came off the best month ever and had a red month. So I was just being really aggressive. I was trying to swing for the fences on every trade, and I kept getting stopped out. I was able to turn things around. As you guys know. The rest of the spring was really solid, had some great profits. So, turned things around, which is great. Came into the summer feeling pretty good. Made, I think, $36,000 in June, another $50,000 last month in July. So, starting to open up a little bit, thinking, all right, August is going to be great. First week of August, I lose $12,000. So, I feel like I'm starting August the same as I started February, and second week of the month I made back $8,000, so I was still down $4,000. Third week of the month, or a third full week of the month, I made back $4,000, so was break even. And this month this week I'm down $1,000, so I'm back to down $1,000 on the month, which is obviously not where I am usually wanting to be coming into the last week of the month, but it is what it is. One of the students mentioned earlier this week in the chat room, he said, Russ, or he didn't say it to me. He was reminding himself, or he was giving someone else words of encouragement. If you have a little bit of a hard time when you start trading with real money, remind yourself that you're the same trader who made money in the sim for the last 3 months, or whatever the case may be, for the last month. Just as that kind of pep talk, like, even though you're losing money right now, you're the same trader who's been making money. I'm just gonna remember, guys, not to share personal info in the main chat room. So I'm the same trader who made 100K in January. I'm the same trader who took $583, turned it into $100,000, blah 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 blah. But what it feels like is that you're only as good as your last trade. You're only as good as your last green day. And I'm sure that's what Tom Brady was saying when they lost at the Super Bowl, and he missed that super easy catch that you think almost anyone could have caught. People are saying, Tom, you've got all these Super Bowl wins under your belt. It's all right. You're still that same guy. And it's like, yeah, okay, but and maybe that softens the blow a little bit, but you still feel that kind of, you're only as good as your last trade. And you guys know that I like to watch The Deadliest Catch on Discovery. And one of the things that one of those captains said at the end of the season is that you're only as good as your last season. And with that type of work, I'm sure that feels very true, because if you have a bad season where it takes you forever to catch your totals, to catch your quota, that means less money for you, less money for your crew, blah 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 blah. I'm sure it feels like you've got that pressure on you. It doesn't matter that I had a good season 2 years ago. I need to do a good job every single year, back to back to back to back. So, for me, there's certainly some of that feeling, and I talked about it a million times, but just that feeling of, when you start to have a little bit of a slow patch, that you're only as good as your last trade. So if you have how many back-to-back red months can you have before, you really start to freak out? I guess the good thing for me is that since I've now been through this, these kind of hot streaks and cold streaks so many times, I'm kind of at a point where I'm not getting really that stressed out. I'm really not stressed out that I'm red here in August, or that, I'm down $1,000, whatever. I'm not that stressed out because I'm kind of just like, you know what? Yeah, I am red, but I'm not worried that, oh no, something's happening in my strategy. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills anymore. I'm not worried about that because I've had this happen so many times at this point that I know that I always come out on the other side. So these are my stats here for the month thus far. So this was the first day of the month, lost 9 grand. Made back 4, lost 4 or 5, so this is kind of where I've been. Today's gonna be another red day, just basically down to like here. 5,000 is kind of that line there, trying to keep losses not lower than that. But what you'll see from this month is that the market has not been giving big winners. So here's the problem: the average winning trade only $640, whereas the average loser is $1,100. Now, this is not an abnormally large average loser. If we look at my average losses for the entire year, you'll see that my average losses are about that. So I take pretty much the same amount of risk on every trade. So that's good. I didn't like blow out my max loss. I'm not risking 5,000 per trade. My average losers aren't higher. The problem is that my average winners are lower. So how do you, that's kind of the challenge. How do you acclimate to average winners being half the size as average? Percentage of success, it's not that different, 67%. The problem is I'm not getting the big wins. And so that's the indicator of a choppy market. The only metric here that's different, is the average winners. And you can't control how big winners are going to be. If you don't have stocks that are squeezing up, 50, 60, 100%, you're not going to have these really big winners. So, we've had a couple nice trades, but in general, a lot of the trades have been these kind of small wins. Ends up only being $200, $300, maybe 1,000, and then another round of small ones. So this is what I'm dealing with right now. The profit loss ratio is inverted. It's negative. It's actually almost exactly 1 to 2 versus what we aim for of at least 1 to 1 or 2 to 1. But you can't control how big the winners are going to be. The only thing you can do is control the losses and know that you will come out, on the other side of this streak, whatever it is, red streak, a more disciplined trader for following the rules, for keeping your accuracy about the same, for not, getting super, super aggressive, et cetera, et cetera. I'm trying to find my, let's see, overview. Detailed. Every single time I look for it, I struggle to find it. So let's see. Win-loss expectation. So this right here is my equity curve in the last 2 years. Since I started with $583 in my account, not to harp on the amount, but $583, this has been the equity curve. So I had a period, I wish they would let you blow it up a little bit more without me having to zoom into my chart like this. But in any case, as you guys know, I first few days it was making $100 a day, $150 a day. Like these were the first couple days of that challenge. These wins were tiny. It's hard to kind of get the mouse there. So $156 finally started to open up. But then during the summer of 2017, it was kind of slow. I was kind of like grinding here. I was making money, but not making a lot of money. I only made like $30,000 across 3 months of trading. And then all of a sudden, things really opened up in the fall. October and November, things started to peak up, made this really nice push, had like 3 weeks of sideways, and then things opened up again big time from December all the way through the end of January. January being the best month I've ever had of trading. And then things were sideways in February. I lost about $10,000. So I didn't go super red, but I lost some money. And then things started to open up, a little setback, things opened up again, a little setback, opened up again, a little sideways, opened up again for a really nice month here of June and July, and now this is August, sideways. And what I will just say is that it's always better to go sideways and even go down slightly than to have steep drawdowns. You know that there are traders out there who have, these types of moves where it drops down big time. And then maybe it opens back up and then it drops way down again. And for me, being a trader who's doing this for income, I've always gone for consistency. It doesn't mean that I won't have red days, because of course I will, but it means that generally I cap my losses, I know when to throw in the towel, and I try to walk away quickly. So, my peak drawdown has been losing a total of $22,000. That was in May. So that was right here. That was the bottom of my drawdown right there. And that's the biggest drawdown I've had since creating this account. So drawing down from 624,000 to 602,000. I mean, I'm not sure what percentage that is, but it's not even, it's like a couple percent. It's a really small drawdown. It's, let's see, 10% would be 60 grand, 5% would be 30 grand. So it's like a 4% drawdown on my account. And then, you can see here, moving back up. So this is what's important. Here I lost about 12,000 in early August. I've gotten it back. Had a couple dips here, but nothing serious. I'd like to try to keep the drawdowns maybe a little bit lower. Going down 20,000 it feels disappointing to go down that much. So, whatever. Right now I'm kind of flat, and I'm just hoping that things open up, because this is the line that I'm really watching. $583 to $1 million. I was hoping to hit that by December. So, by December 31st, by the end of the year. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen. We'll kind of see. If I have to go like this a little longer and then I break through in February or whatever, that's fine. So the trades today, really not a lot to show. NSYS and FFHL. NSYS was on the gap scanner this morning. So basically it was on the gap scanner with an interesting headline of a share buyback, which is very rare among small cap companies, but a share buyback. So it's gapping up, has a nice pre-market high of 470. Out of the gates, it starts to pop up here. You see that green candle as it squeezes from a low of 413 and pops up. So I jumped in it at 430. And as soon as I got in it, I knew I was buying from a hidden seller, because I was buying 6,000 shares and it was showing like 2 shares on the ask or something like that. And it wasn't moving. So that seller was not moving. So that's how I knew I bought into a hidden seller. And right away, I tried to unwind the position, trying to sell half at 36, half at 30, hitting the bid when I saw a good bid, and reducing my risk. But I ended up selling the rest of it down at 410. So I lost 260 bucks on that trade, but that's not that big of a deal. That's pretty good risk management to be able to get in, notice the hidden seller, and unwind the position. I was prepared to add over 450 if it opened up, but it was kind of like stalling out right there. So then FFHL was also on the scans right here, gapping up 20%. I wasn't super into it. I really wasn't. I didn't think a lot of it. But right out of the gates, the first candle, it starts to squeeze up, hits a high at 314, it pulls back. As it came back over 3, I was like, okay, I'll get in at 305. I'm anticipating the break of 315, and then thinking over there, we've got to move up towards 320 and the pre-market highs. So I jump in at 303 and 304. It pops up for a second to 310, and 10 seconds later, it's at 260. And that's always really hard to control your risk when a stock suddenly drops 40 cents. So it drops 40 cents, and then I end up stopping out at 258. There just really wasn't a lot I could do. It hit a low of 255. Now it did pop up here to 281. That's 30 cents on 6,000 shares. That's 1,800 bucks. So I could have held, but at that point I was starting to get worried it might get halted on circuit breaker going down, because it's just went from 310 to 250. And if you don't cut it when it breaks 260, then where do you cut it? And so on that one, I was just like, yeah, this doesn't look good. I think I got to get out. In hindsight, maybe I could have held back up into the 70s or 80s, but I just cut it. And so with that, down $3,000 in the first 2 minutes of trading, and that was disappointing. Jern, I saw this one squeezing up. Didn't take a trade on it. Couldn't, because I'm below my max loss. It would be FOMO to trade it. FOMO and revenge trading and breaking rules, which I can't do. But I saw right here under 5 consolidation, there was like a 70,000 share seller sitting at 5. And as I watched it go 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 12, 11, 10, and then it pops, I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. pops up to a high of 25, pulls back, nice 1 minute micro pullback here, and then it ends up going up to a high of 580, which is really surprising for a stock with a float of 59 million shares, but put in a really nice move. For me, one of the things that's hard with that price range is that it's hard to read the tape because the orders are going through so fast. It's just really hard to see what's going on. So on that one, you know, I don't know if I would have traded it, but in any case, I followed the rules today, and so even though I've got a red day, I get a pat on the back for following the rules and not giving into FOMO, not trading past my max loss, and just, you know, it is what it is. It's a red day, but when you can cap all of your red days that you've ever had at a certain amount, that's when you're really doing something good. And obviously on the first day of the month, I still had a $5,000 max loss, and I was down $4,500, and I took trade number 4 or whatever it was, and just like that, I lost, you know, another $5,000. So it's really frustrating when that happens, and it's FOMO. It's the emotions that we all deal with from time to time. So this is now my 6th red day of the month. You know, I've got more red days here than I'd like. June was solid. July was pretty good. May and April weren't great. I had a kind of red streak here at the end of April, carried into the beginning of May. February was awful, but January, March were good. And really, all this will be was another red day in just a sea of trades. You know, I mean, it's just like, this is just, there's always going to be little clusters here and there, a little cluster here, you know, a little bit here, but that's just the way it is. October, you know, this is rare to have that kind of month. That was nice. But in the whole month, we can just look at the month of October real quick. And it's not like I killed it. 31, 2017. It was a good month, but it wasn't like the best month of my career. Detailed, I made net $35,000, 80% accuracy, which was good. But the average winner is 800, average loser is 700. You know, I wasn't pushing it. I wasn't being as aggressive. So, you know, if I'm going to be aggressive, I might have a month where I make 70, but I do have a couple of red days, and I think that's okay. It's okay to fall down as long as, you know, you get back up and you keep working it. So anyways, that's it for me. Red day recap, but we'll be back at it first thing on Monday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Students, we've got class starting in about an hour at noontime, so we'll be continuing here with the day trade course, chapter 9. All right, I'll see you guys in class in an hour. Everyone else, I'll see you first thing tomorrow morning. Monday morning. If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.